Hi friends, my name is Anna, and today we're going to be reading The Box Turtle. Now, before we start reading this book, I have a challenge for you. I want you to pause this video right now and go ahead and find something that you could use as a shell. And so, it can be anything you want, anything that you could use for a shell. More creative, the better. I'm going to pause the video, and when you come back, I will show you my shell. Now, the shell I chose was this jar, and this isn't a normal jar. It has some hearts on it. And this is important because in this book, the main character has to find a new shell. Now, looking at this cover, I want you to think about what you think this book is going to be about. Obviously, I just said that he's going to look for a new shell. But what do you think is going to happen? When the little box turtle hatched, his parents noticed something missing. Oh me! Oh my! But they weren't dismayed. They gave him a name and a shell, both of which fit just right. Now remember, Terrence, you are so much more than just a shell. Now, I want you to stop and go ahead and think about what dismayed means. I know that's a really big word, so I'm going to go ahead and read that sentence again. When the little box turtle hatched, his parents noticed something missing, but they weren't dismayed. What do you think dismayed means? That's a fancy way of saying worried. They were not worried about Terrence missing a shell. Terrence's shell kept him dry on the soggiest days, safe from the shoopiest strangers, and on the scariest nights. It was big enough to share. Terrence loved his shell. Until one day, your shell is weird. Oh no, what's happening on this page? How do you think that Terrence is going to react to them saying his shell is weird? Do you think that he's just going to brush it off? Or do you think that he's going to get upset? How would you feel if somebody told you that something about you was weird? I definitely don't think I would brush that off. I think I would get very upset. Suddenly, Terrence's shell seemed too boring, too bizarre, and too big for the little box turtle to bear. So he abandoned it to search for something better. Do you think that he really wanted to get rid of his shell? Why do you think he did it? I think it was just because of the bullies, and I don't think that was very nice. Terrence searched high and low until his new shell looked sleek. Looks like Terrence loves his new shell. Eek! But it showed too much cheek. The search continued. He looked classy. He looked sassy. He looked just like... Grandma Mildred. He looked for another shell. What keeps happening to his shells? Do you think that he changes the shells because he wants to, or because of what other people think about his shells? And what do you think is going to happen next in the story? Do you think that he's going to find a shell to stick with? Oh yeah, he found it. A perfect polka dotty package. Pop! That was positively petrifying. What do you think that petrifying means? That is a fancy way of saying scared. Petrifying means that he's scared of his new shell. Terrence tried shell after shell after shell, after shell. What do you notice about these pictures? What happened with his shells? Seems like no matter what shell he finds, somebody always has a problem with it. This whole situation stunk a lot. That's it. I give up. Here you go. What's happening in this page? What's the crab doing? How is this crab different than the other characters in the story? Instead of taking away a shell from Terrence, he's giving Terrence a shell of his own. Oh, wow! In that moment, the hermit crab showed what it meant to be a friend. The little crustacean was so much more than just a shell. Maybe Terrence was too. Terrence knew what he needed. Now, looking at this picture, what does it look like Terrence needs? Do you have any guesses? It looks to me like Terrence is going to end up right where he started. But when he found his old shell, oh no, it had changed. What happened to his shell? It's okay. We can fix it. Terrence patched on soggy days. He toiled on chilly nights. The task grew big enough to share. Finally, the shell was finished. Now, is Terrence back where he started? Not exactly. Like his new shell. Yes, it's the same, but how is it different? It looks like this new shell is even more him, which makes it even better. It wasn't sleek or sassy. It was far from perfect and definitely weird. But Terrence wasn't dismayed because this little box turtle was so much more than just his shell. The end. Now that this book is finished, I want you to think about how Terrence the turtle changed throughout the story. In the beginning of the story, how was he? How would you characterize him? Remember, at the very beginning of the story, Terrence was very happy and he was very content too. It wasn't until the middle of the story, when the first person noticed that his shell was different, that he started to be upset. Finally, at the end of the story, Terrence realized that it doesn't matter what other people think, and that as long as he's happy with his shell, that's all that matters. And I want you to think about what the theme of this story might be. Go ahead and stop and think about it. While you think about that, go ahead and pull out your shell that you found. And I want you to look at it and think, would this be a normal shell? Definitely not. But is this shell still usable? Absolutely. And just like Terrence's shell, no matter what it is, as long as you love it, that's all that matters, which is the theme of this book. Throughout Box Turtle, the main theme is self-love, which is very important. So thank you for reading this story with me.